Manifestation is not about effort. It's not about chasing, forcing, or begging the universe. It's about assuming and trusting. And the moment you truly let go, you allow everything you desire to flow into your life effortlessly. My friends, I urge you to stop struggling, stop striving, stop pleading for that which is already yours. You do not need to fight for your desires. You need only to assume they are already fulfilled. The world you see is not separate from you. It is not something to be conquered, manipulated, or changed through force. It is merely a reflection of your inner state, a mirror that obediently presents to you the assumptions you hold as true. If you believe you must struggle, then struggle you shall. If you believe you must work tirelessly, then effort will be your burden. But if you believe it is already done, then done it is. Close your eyes and feel the reality of your wish fulfilled. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Feel the thrill of possession, the joy of accomplishment. Walk in that knowing, and life will have no choice but to conform. You are not waiting for your manifestation. You are awakening to its presence. What you seek is seeking you. But it can only appear when you stop chasing and start being. The moment you accept it as real, the moment you claim it as yours, the unseen moves to the seen. The intangible takes form. The law is simple: assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it must harden into fact. So tonight, as you close your eyes, dare to assume. Dare to believe that it is already yours. Let go of effort, let go of doubt, and rest in the knowing that all things are already yours. The greatest misconception about manifestation is that effort is required, that one must toil, strive, and struggle to bring desires into reality. This is a falsehood born from the illusion of separation, the belief that what we desire exists outside of us, far away, beyond reach, and that only through hard work and relentless pursuit can we grasp it. But this is not the truth. Struggle is not the path to creation. It is the very thing that keeps desires at bay. The act of striving implies lack. When you chase something, you affirm its absence. When you struggle, you declare to yourself and to the world that what you seek is not yet yours. And as long as you hold on to this belief, you will remain in a cycle of wanting but never having. The world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. If you assume that effort is required, the world will comply and give you endless reasons to struggle. But if you assume that your desire is already fulfilled, the world will shift to reflect that assumption. Consider for a moment how effortlessly the body heals. If you cut yourself, you agonize over how the wound will close. Do you spend sleepless nights worrying whether your skin will repair itself? Or do you trust in the unseen intelligence that governs the body, knowing that healing is inevitable? In the same way, manifestation does not require you to force things into being. The moment you assume a state of already having, unseen forces begin working on your behalf. But if you stand in a state of lack, constant striving and doubting, you interfere with the process. Desperation is the great repellent. When you cling too tightly to something, fearing that it will not come, you push it away. Think of the times in your life when something you deeply wanted eluded you, only to appear the moment you let go. The job you struggled to get only came when you stopped obsessing over it. The person you longed for only entered your life when you stopped needing them. This is because struggle creates resistance. It signals to the subconscious mind that you are separate from your desire. And since the subconscious is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, it faithfully reproduces that separation in your reality. There is nothing to struggle against because creation is already finished. Every possibility, every outcome, every version of your life idea exists. The only question is, which reality will you assume? If you persist in the state of lack, you will experience lack. If you persist in the state of already having, you will experience having. It is not about forcing things to happen. It is about aligning with the version of yourself that already possesses what you seek. When you stop struggling, you allow. You open yourself to the natural flow of life, trusting that what is meant for you cannot be withheld. It is the resistance that delays manifestation, not the universe. The seed does not struggle to become a tree. It simply grows effortlessly in accordance with its nature. Water does not struggle to flow to the lowest point. It moves with ease, finding the path of least resistance. Manifestation is no different. It is not an act of force, but an unfolding, a revealing of what is already within you. If you have been struggling to manifest something, it is not because it is difficult. It is because you believe it is. The mind clings to the idea that struggle equals worth, that only through suffering can one achieve. But this is a conditioned belief, not an ultimate truth. Effort is necessary in the physical world for certain things, learning a skill, maintaining relationships, taking action, but in the realm of imagination, effort is irrelevant. Imagination is the true creative power, and it functions effortlessly. The moment you imagine yourself as already having, with conviction, your world must conform. Think of the moments in your life when things happened effortlessly. The friendships that formed naturally, the opportunities that arose without force. The times when you simply expected something to go your way. And it did. These were instances when you were in alignment, when you were not struggling or doubting, but simply accepting. The same principle applies to all aspects of life. There is no need to struggle for love, for success, for abundance. All these things are already within your reach, waiting for you to claim them. Struggle keeps you focused on the obstacles, on the process, on the waiting. But when you let go of struggle, you shift your focus to the end result. You begin to live from the end, acting, thinking, and feeling as if your desire is already fulfilled. And in doing so, you make it inevitable. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between imagination and reality. It only knows what you impress upon it. Struggle impresses lack. Ease impresses abundance. The choice is always yours. Letting go of struggle does not mean inaction. It means inspired action. Action that comes from a place of knowing, rather than desperation. It means moving in the world with the confidence that what you desire is already yours. That the steps you take are not efforts to create, but expressions of what already exists. You do not struggle to be the person you are. You simply are. Apply this same certainty to your desires. Assume that they are already yours, and you will move through life with an ease that naturally brings them to you. When you stop struggling, you begin to trust. You trust in the unseen forces that work on your behalf. You trust in the power of your imagination. You trust that what you seek is not separate from you, but already a part of your being. The need to struggle disappears because there is nothing left to chase, only something to claim. The world you see around you is not separate from you. It is not something that exists independently, shaping your life without your influence. Rather, it is a mirror, a perfect reflection of your inner state, your assumptions, and your deeply held beliefs. Every circumstance, every experience, every person you encounter is a manifestation of what you hold to be true within yourself. Change does not begin outside of you. It begins within. If you wish to alter your life, you must first alter the state from which you live, for the outer world can only reflect the inner. Consider the way a mirror functions. When you stand before it, it does not decide what to show you. It does not create an image independent of you. It simply reflects what is already there. If you frown, the mirror does not display a smile. If you turn away, the reflection disappears. The world operates in the same way. It does not impose upon you, it merely mirrors the state you assume to be true. If you believe that life is a struggle, you will see struggle everywhere. If you believe that people are unkind, you will encounter unkindness. But if you assume that life is effortless, filled with abundance, joy, and love, then these qualities must appear in your world. The outer world has no choice but to reflect the inner. This is why change cannot come from force. One cannot change the reflection by altering the mirror. To see a different image, one must change the self that stands before it. Many attempt to change their circumstances by pushing against the world, by fighting, by working harder, by pleading and hoping. But these efforts are in vain if the inner state remains unchanged. One may temporarily shift external conditions, but if the underlying belief remains the same, the world will inevitably revert to its original reflection. There are those who seek love but believe they are unworthy of it. No matter how desperate they search, love remains elusive. They may enter relationships, but those relationships will only confirm their belief in unworthiness. They may meet people who reject them, who treat them as less than they are, and so they believe the world is against them, not realizing that the world is only reflecting the assumption they hold. But if they were to change within, if they were to assume they are already loved, already valued, already cherished, then love would have no choice but to appear. The world is bound by law to reflect what is impressed upon it. The same is true for wealth, success, and health. One who believes in lack will see lack everywhere. Even if money comes, it will quickly leave. For the subconscious must remain consistent with what is assumed. One who assumes success is difficult will always encounter obstacles, while who assumes success is natural will find opportunities unfolding effortlessly. Those who live in fear of sickness often find themselves afflicted, while those who assume health often recover without effort. The cause is not external. The cause is within. Every event, every situation, every encounter serves as a revelation of one's inner world. If there is something in life that appears undesirable, it is not an enemy to be fought, but a message to be understood. It is an indication of the inner state, a signal pointing toward what has been accepted as true. Those who understand this do not seek to change circumstances by force. Instead, they change themselves, and in doing so, the world must change in response. Consider a person who constantly finds themselves in financial difficulty. No matter how hard they work, no matter how many jobs they take, they always struggle to make ends meet. They believe the world is unfair, that success is reserved for others, that money is difficult to attain. And because they believe this, their world confirms it. They receive unexpected bills. Their efforts seem to lead nowhere. Opportunities appear only to slip away. If this person were to continue pushing against the world, they would only reinforce the struggle. But if they were to shift within, if they were to assume that wealth is abundant, that money flows effortlessly, that they are already prosperous, then the world would reflect this new assumption. Opportunities would arise, resources would appear, and financial ease would become their experience. The outer world must conform to the inner state. This is not a matter of wishful thinking, it is law. The world does not respond to what one wants, it responds to what one assumes to be true. If someone desires health but assumes they are ill, their body will conform to the assumption of illness. If someone desires success but assumes they are doomed to fail, failure will be their experience. It is not enough to hope for change. One must embody the change within. When one understands this principle, they no longer seek outside validation. They do not wait for the world to change before they feel secure or prosperous. Instead, they cultivate these feelings within, knowing that as they do, the world must mirror them back. They walk in the conviction that all they desire is already theirs. And by doing so, they shift into the reality where it is made manifest. Life is not happening to you. It is responding to you. The outer world is not something separate, acting upon you against your will. It is a perfect reflection, an obedient servant of your inner state. To change the world, change within. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and the world will faithfully reflect it. There is no need to force, to struggle, to manipulate. Simply be, and the reflection must follow. The secret to effortless manifestation lies in the ability to feel your desire as already done, not as something that will happen in the future, not as something you are waiting for, but as something that is already yours in this very moment. This is the great key, the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the invisible and the tangible. The moment you claim a state as your own and feel it to be true, your world must shift to reflect it. Feeling is the language of creation. It is not enough to simply think of your desire, to daydream about it, or to hope it will come to pass. Thoughts alone are fleeting, passing like clouds in the sky. But feeling is the substance that gives life to the thought. When you feel something deeply, your subconscious mind accepts it as reality. It does not distinguish between what is physically present and what is imagined with conviction. If you feel yourself to be wealthy, loved, successful, or healthy, the world must align to match that state. Imagine for a moment that you have already received what you seek. If it were already yours, how would you feel? Would you feel relief, joy, gratitude, peace? Would you carry yourself differently, speak differently, think differently? This feeling is the secret. When you embody it fully, when you saturate yourself in the experience of already having, you shift into that reality. You no longer stand in the state of wanting, hoping, or wishing, but in the state of already possessing. And since the outer world is nothing but a mirror of the inner, It must rearrange itself to reflect this new state. Many struggle to manifest because they place their desires in the future. They think in terms of one day soon or when the time is right. But this keeps them trapped in a cycle of waiting. The future never arrives as the present. It remains an illusion, always just out of reach. The only way to bring something into your life is to claim it now, to feel it real in this moment, to walk as if it is already done. Think of a time when you were absolutely certain about something before it happened. Perhaps you knew deep down that you would get a certain job, that a relationship would unfold in your favor, or that something would work out effortlessly. You did not hope or wonder, you knew. And because you knew, you felt at ease. You were not desperate, nor did you question whether it would happen. You simply moved through life with the quiet confidence that it was already yours. And then, as if by magic, it came to pass. This is the natural way of manifestation. Those who live in doubt, who constantly question whether their desires will come, remain stuck in uncertainty. Their emotions waver between hope and fear, between belief and disbelief. And as long as their inner state fluctuates, their outer world remains unstable, reflecting their inner inconsistency. But those who truly feel their desires as already done are unwavering. They do not check for signs, they do not wonder when it will come, for in their world it is already here. They have assumed the feeling of fulfillment, and because they have, reality must conform. It is not about pretending or tricking yourself. It is about stepping into the version of yourself that already has what you seek. Ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already mine? Then dwell in that feeling, let it take root. Let it become your natural state. This is the difference between hoping for something and living from the end. Hoping places the desire outside of you. Feeling it real claims it as yours. Many misunderstand this principle, thinking they must work hard to generate emotion, to force themselves to feel something they do not yet believe. But true feeling does not come from effort. It comes from surrender. It comes from relaxing into the knowing that what you seek is already accomplished. It is not about trying to convince yourself. It is about allowing yourself to experience the truth of your desire fulfilled. This is why imagination is so powerful. The mind cannot tell the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real. If you close your eyes and truly feel yourself in possession of your desire, if you hear the voices of loved ones congratulating you, if you see yourself living in the home you wish to own, if you touch and taste the reality of your fulfilled desire, your subconscious mind will accept it as truth. And once it does, the world must follow. Doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. The moment you question whether your desire will come, you return to the state of lack. But if you persist in the feeling of already having, nothing can stop it from appearing. Do not be concerned with how it will happen. The bridge of events will unfold naturally. Your only task is to remain in the state of fulfillment, to live in the joy, gratitude, and certainty of already possessing what you desire. Those who understand this walk through life with ease. They do not force, they do not struggle, they do not chase. They move with a quiet confidence that everything is unfolding in their favor. They know that creation is finished, that their desires exist in an unseen reality waiting to be made visible. And because they know, they feel it now. And by feeling it now, they call it into being. There is no waiting, no hoping, no striving. There is only the assumption of already being, already having, already living in the end. And when this is done, the world must bow to the feeling that has been claimed as real. You are not waiting for your desire to manifest, you are awakening to the truth that it is already yours. The idea of waiting implies separation, a gap between you and what you seek. But in reality, there is no distance. Everything you have ever desired, every possibility, every outcome already exists. Your only task is to awaken to it, to become aware of the reality that is already present but unseen. The greatest illusion is that time stands between you and your manifestation, that you must wait, that things must unfold gradually, that external conditions must change before your desire becomes real. But time is not the creator, your assumption is. If you assume that you are waiting, that what you desire is in the future, then you will forever remain in a state of waiting. The future never arrives as the present. It is always just out of reach. The only way to bring forth your desire is to claim it now, to awaken to the fact that it is already here. The process of manifestation is not about bringing something new into existence. It is about shifting into the awareness of what already is. Imagine for a moment that you are listening to a radio station. Many other frequencies exist playing different music, broadcasting different messages, but you can only hear the one to which you are tuned. If you wish to experience a different station, you do not create it, you simply adjust the dial. In the same way, your desires already exist. The version of you who has everything you seek is already real, already living in that reality. Your task is not to wait for it to appear, but to tune yourself to that version, to awaken to its presence. Most people remain trapped in the illusion of waiting because they are ruled by their senses. They look around at their physical world and see only what is currently visible. They measure their progress by external conditions, believing that if they cannot yet see their manifestation, it must not be real. But the truth is that the unseen is more real than the seen. The physical world is merely a shadow, a reflection of what has already been established in the unseen realm of consciousness. The moment you assume a new state, it is real. The fact that your senses have not yet caught up does not mean it is not so. To awaken is to shift your awareness from what appears to be to what truly is. It is to stop accepting the evidence of the outer world as truth and to instead trust the reality of your inner conviction. When you awaken, you no longer wait for proof. You no longer look for signs or confirmation. You simply know. And because you know, the world must shift to reflect your knowing. Think of the times in your life when something felt inevitable before it happened. Perhaps you had an inner certainty that an event would unfold in your favor, and without effort it did. This was not coincidence. It was an awakening. In those moments, you were not waiting, you were simply aligning with what was already true. You were dwelling in the state of fulfillment, and the world responded accordingly. Many remain stuck because they believe that something outside of them must change first. They think that circumstances, people, or events must shift before they can feel complete. But this is backward thinking. The change must happen within first. You do not wait for the world to show you proof before you believe, and then the proof appears. You do not wait for love before feeling loved. You feel loved, and love manifests. You do not wait for success before feeling successful. You feel successful, and success follows. Waiting creates resistance. It signals to your subconscious that what you desire is not yet real. And because the subconscious manifests what you impress upon it, it continues to reflect the state of waiting. But awakening is effortless. It is the realization that you are already what you seek, that you already possess all that you desire, and that the world is simply catching up to your inner conviction. There is no force, no effort, no struggle required to awaken. It is a gentle shift in awareness, a quiet assumption of what is already yours. When you awaken to a new state, you no longer feel anxious, impatient, or doubtful. You move through life with the quiet confidence that all is unfolding as it should. You act naturally, speak naturally, think naturally from the place of already having. You do not look for results because you are already living in the knowing that it is done. This is why those who truly understand this principle do not chase, they do not seek, they do not wait. They simply become. They step into the state of already being, already possessing, already experiencing. And because they do, reality shifts to match. It must. It is law. The moment you stop waiting and start awakening, everything changes. The sense of longing disappears, replaced by a deep sense of peace. There is no urgency, no desperation, only the quiet certainty that your world is a reflection of your inner state, and that you have already arrived at your desired destination. The question is never when something will happen. The question is, are you awake to it now? If you can answer yes, if you can dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, if you can embody the knowing that it is already yours, then time becomes irrelevant. You are no longer waiting for your manifestation, you are simply walking in the reality of its completion, allowing the world to catch up to what you already know to be true. The law is simple. Assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, and you shall receive it. There is no complexity, no struggle, no hidden steps. What you assume to be true in your inner world must be reflected in your outer world. This is the great secret that governs all creation. It is not about wishing, hoping, or trying. It is about assuming and knowing. Assumption is the creative force that shapes reality. Every experience in your life is a direct reflection of what you have assumed to be true. You may not always be conscious of your assumptions, but they are always at work, determining the circumstances, relationships, and conditions you encounter. If you assume yourself to be poor, you will live in lack. If you assume yourself to be loved, love will surround you. The world does not create your assumptions create the world. Many believe that life happens to them, that they are at the mercy of fate, circumstances, or other people. But this is an illusion. Life is a mirror faithfully reflecting the state of consciousness you occupy. If you desire change, you do not fight against what is seen, you shift your assumption of what is true. The moment you assume a new reality, the world must rearrange itself to match it. Assumption is not mere thinking, it is a deep, inner acceptance of something as real. It is the knowing that something is already yours, even before it becomes visible. It does not matter what your senses say, what others believe, or what logic dictates. What matters is what you assume to be true, for your assumption shapes the world around you. Many struggle with manifestation because they believe they must work hard, perform rituals, or take endless action to achieve their desires. But the law does not require effort, it requires belief. Action alone does not create. It is the natural result of a shift in consciousness. When you assume yourself to be a certain way, your actions will naturally align with that assumption, and the world will respond accordingly. Consider someone who desires financial abundance. If they assume themselves to be wealthy, they will think, feel, and act from that state. They will no longer dwell in thoughts of lack or struggle. Their decisions will reflect confidence in their prosperity. They will naturally attract opportunities, and their world will shift to reflect their assumption. But if they assume lack, no amount of effort can change their condition. Even if money comes, it will slip away, for their inner world must remain consistent with their assumption of scarcity. The same principle applies to health, relationships, and success. A person who assumes themselves to be healthy, even in the face of illness, will find their body responding to that belief. Someone who assumes they are loved will naturally attract relationships that confirm that assumption. Those who assume success will find doors opening effortlessly. The law is absolute, it does not discriminate, nor does it fail. One of the greatest obstacles to receiving is doubt. The moment you question whether your assumption is real, you return to a state of uncertainty, and the world reflects that uncertainty. To assume and receive, you must persist. You must dwell in the feeling of already having, regardless of appearances. If you allow yourself to be swayed by external circumstances, you are not truly assuming, you are reacting. Faith is the substance of assumption. It is the unwavering belief that what you have claimed within must manifest without. When you assume a reality, you do not need to force it into existence. You rest in the knowing that it is already done. You carry yourself as though it were true, not with pretense, but with the quiet confidence of one who knows they already possess what they seek. The world responds to certainty. Those who assume with conviction do not beg, do not plead, do not chase. They simply claim, and by claiming they receive. When you assume a state, you do not wait for evidence, you create the evident. You do not look for signs, you become the sign. You do not ask when it will come, you live as though it already has. Some believe assumption is wishful thinking, but this is a misunderstanding. Assumption is not about pretending or hoping, it is about embodying. If you assume yourself to be confident, you do not need proof before you feel confident, you feel it now, and the proof follows. If you assume yourself to be successful, you do not wait for achievements to validate that belief, you carry yourself as successful now, and success appears. This is the simplicity of the law. Assume and receive. Do not complicate it with questions of how or when. Do not seek reassurance from the external world. The moment you assume, your reality begins to shift. Some manifestations happen instantly, others unfold over time. But all must come to pass in accordance with your inner state. Every moment you are assuming something. Most people assume unconsciously, allowing old beliefs and fears to dictate their reality. But once you become aware of the power of assumption, you can take control. You can deliberately assume the state of being you desire, And by doing so, you claim it as yours. If you desire love, assume you are already loved. If you desire success, assume you are already successful. If you desire peace, assume you are already at peace. Do not wait for external proof, become the proof. Feel it, live it, and the world will reflect it. The law does not fail. The only question is, what are you assuming right now? Are you assuming the life you desire? Or are you assuming limitations, doubts, and delays? The choice is always yours. And the moment you choose to assume your wish fulfilled, you set in motion the forces that will bring it into reality. Assume and receive. This is the great truth, the secret behind all creation. Nothing more is required. No struggle, no force, no waiting. Simply assume, and it must be so. Letting go and trusting is the final step in allowing your desires to manifest effortlessly. It is the understanding that once you have assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, there is nothing more for you to do but to rest in the knowing that it is already accomplished. The moment you surrender your need to control the how and when, you free yourself from resistance and allow the unseen forces to bring your desire into form. Many struggle with this concept because they believe that manifestation requires constant effort, worry, or obsessive focus. They think that if they do not keep checking for signs, if they do not continuously affirm their desire, it will not come to pass. But this very act of clinging, of doubting, and of seeking external validation keeps them stuck in a state of lack. They are unknowingly reinforcing the belief that their desire is not yet real, and because they persist in this state, their outer world reflects it. Letting go is not about abandoning your desire, it is about releasing the doubt, fear, and impatience that stand in the way. It is about trusting that the moment you have assumed a new state of being, reality must shift to match it. Just as a seed, once planted, does not require constant digging up to see if it is growing, your manifestation does not require endless questioning or effort. It simply requires faith. Faith is not blind hope. It is the deep inner knowing that what you desire is already yours. It is the unwavering confidence that you do not need to force or chase what is meant for you. When you assume your wish fulfilled and let go, you move into a state of effortless creation. You stop worrying about outcomes because you understand that creation is finished. The world is simply rearranging itself to bring your assumption into visible form. Consider how nature operates. A river does not force itself to flow. It moves effortlessly in the path of least resistance. The sun does not struggle to rise, it follows its course naturally. A tree does not stress about growing taller. It simply grows, trusting the process. The same principle applies to manifestation. When you let go and trust, you align with the natural flow of creation. You allow things to unfold in perfect order without resistance. Those who trust do not seek confirmation from the outside world. They do not need signs, validation, or reassurance because they already know their desire is fulfilled. They do not wait anxiously. They live as though it is done. They carry themselves with the quiet confidence of someone who has already received what they asked for. And because they do, reality must respond in kind. Doubt and impatience are the greatest barriers to manifestation. The moment you begin to question whether your desire will come, you move back into the state of not having. You send conflicting signals to your subconscious, creating instability in your outer world. But when you release doubt, when you truly trust that your assumption is enough, you create the space for your desire to unfold naturally. Letting go does not mean doing nothing. It means acting from a place of knowing rather than fear. It means living your life with the certainty that everything is working in your favor. If you have assumed yourself to be wealthy, you do not obsess over financial success. You move through life with the assurance of wealth. If you have assumed love, you do not seek validation from others. You carry yourself as one who is already deeply loved. If you have assumed success, you do not fear failure. You act with the confidence of one who is already victorious. The greatest manifestations come to those who trust the process. They do not chase, they do not force, they do not struggle. They simply allow. They plant the seed of their desire, water it with belief, and let it grow in its own time. They do not check the soil every day, wondering if the seed is sprouting. They know that the moment they planted it, the process began. Surrender is a sign of mastery. It is the understanding that everything is already working out for you, even if you cannot yet see it. Just as a flower blooms at the perfect time, Just as the seasons change effortlessly, so too will your desires manifest when you allow them to. The more you trust, the faster things unfold. The more you let go of control, the more smoothly everything falls into place. There is no need to worry, no need to stress, no need to force. The moment you assume your wish fulfilled, it became yours. You do not need to know the details of how it will happen. That is not your concern. Your only task is to remain in the state of having, to move with confidence, and to trust that all is unfolding as it should. Life becomes effortless when you embrace this truth. You no longer operate from a place of desperation or neediness. You no longer chase after things hoping they will come. You simply align with what you want and trust that it is already yours. And when you do, the world conforms to your assumption. Letting go and trusting is the final step, the most important step, and the one that allows miracles to unfold. It is the act of stepping back and allowing the unseen forces to work on your behalf. It is the understanding that what you desire is already done, and all you have to do is allow it to appear in your experience. The law is simple: assume, let go, and trust. And when you do, you will receive everything you have ever desired effortlessly, naturally, and in perfect time.